Today, I want to talk with you about something that we really shouldn't have to discuss, but I've had a couple of cases lately where I've had to defend one husband and another with an ex-husband against false accusations of domestic violence. And again, we shouldn't have to discuss this, but there are those who would abuse the process, weaponize the process for certain advantages. So today, let's talk about what we can do to ensure that that doesn't happen. So here are some ideas about protecting ourselves from false accusations of domestic violence. First of all, let's talk about why a spouse or ex would make false accusations. One would be to get you out of his or her life. If you're convicted of, so to speak, of domestic violence, if you're found to have committed domestic violence, there's going to be a no contact order in place for 3 years. That means no contact, no texts, no phone calls, no emails, no face to face, no contact through a third party unless it's about your children. So it's very strict. So it gets you out of the way, so to speak. I see this a lot of times in custody battles, and sadly, that one party will weaponize the domestic violence process in a custody battle to try to gain custody of their children and get the other spouse or partner out of the life of their children. To get your property, they will use this as a wedge or a hammer to use in negotiations. And even though it's illegal to make false accusations, I've seen it done where, well, we probably could work on dropping that domestic violence claim, but we need to look at some other issues in the settlement agreement. Simply to get even. How dare you divorce me? How dare you leave me after all this time? What's this? I'm going to get even with you. I had a case down in Tennessee not too long ago where it was a question of parenting time, of all things. And the mother refused to honor a court order allowing my client parenting time. And so finally, we got that worked out. And she told him, I'm going to get back at you. You just watch. The next day, she filed domestic violence charges against him with the family court. And we got it straightened out, but still, yet, it was very scary for that young person. What are some consequences of being falsely accused? One, you can lose your job. Kentucky is an at-will employment state. And, you may have a boss who believes that anything that's said in this regard, or who just doesn't want somebody accused of domestic violence working in that business. And they can fire you on the spot unless you're a union member or have a contract. Two, you could get a criminal record. That's not a good thing and certainly would limit your opportunities in life. Three, you can lose parenting time. I've seen any number of occasions where people who have had domestic violence findings against them are limited to supervised parenting time, no overnight parenting time. It cuts back their parenting time. They have to take, excuse me, anger management courses and that sort of thing. And it's a year or more before they can get normal parenting time again with their children. You could go to jail. You violate the orders or the assault, accuses you of assault serious enough, you can in fact go to jail. And of course, your reputation is going to be tarnished. Some people are just going to believe that when somebody accuses you of these types of things, it's true. So how can we protect ourselves? One, talk to your friends. Let them know what's going on, that you suspect that your ex is going to do something. You don't know what. Perhaps it's going to be an accusation of domestic violence. Make sure that they're around enough to know that you're not committing domestic violence. The same is true of your relatives. Talk to them, have them around so they know and can testify in your defense if necessary. Uh, Keep your passwords private. If you think that your ex may have access to your passwords, change them. And here's why. Because I've seen instances where false evidence has been planted by an ex using the passwords of the accused. You don't want that to happen. I know that's awful, and you wouldn't think that would happen, but I've seen it. And so change your passwords. Keep them private. Gather evidence. One of the guys that I defended not too long ago had enough gumption to video his wife going nuts, dropping the F-bomb, and actually she committed domestic violence against him. We had that on video when we walked into court, and when she realized that, she dropped the charges against him. So gather evidence. So what actions should you take if you are falsely accused? First, hire an attorney. Do not ride this rail car alone, because there's just too much that can go wrong. There's too much that can be problematic. So hire an attorney and hire someone who is familiar with domestic violence defense and knows what to do. Don't violate any restraining orders. If there's an emergency protective order in place, follow it to the T. Don't mess around with any of that. That means no contact means no contact. Email, phone, text, whatever. Not even through third parties. Hey, go tell my ex this. You can't do that. Follow any restraining orders to the T. That's going to look good when you go into court. Show that you're a good parent. Keep up with your kids. Keep working with your kids and doing things with your kids, so long as you're not restrained from seeing them. If the restraining order allows you to continue to have your parenting time, then have your attorney make sure that there's a way that there can be a drop-off for you to see your kids. Excuse me. Stick to your defense. In other words, don't change your defense as it goes. If it was right to start with, it's right at the end. So stick with your defense as you go through this process. Stay focused. Know what's going on. Keep in touch with your attorney. Stay focused. Don't make the mistake that will hurt you. And remember who's in the wrong here. And remember to stay on the high ground and don't do things that would put you in a bad light in front of the court.